Welcome to the AfterBurners Podcast. I'm your host, Samuel Oni, and here online with me is Wes Spearman. Wes, how are you today?
Yeah, not too bad. I've been enjoying the snow the last couple of days. Actually, I had a
It
little bit of
has
snow
been it has
over
been
here
very
in Oxford.
cold.
Yeah, it's been I've been out for a couple of walks the last few days, and it's been very, very chilly. I've
It
had to
has
have
been.
like neck warmer, fleece, woolly hat, everything. But I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, very well. Yeah, I think this episode is going to be quite. I don't know how to describe it. Maybe somber, as you said, quite
Mm.
sad because over the weekend, F1 was it was a sad day for F1 because Sir Frank Williams, a sporting great in Formula One, former Williams team principal, founder as well. He died on Sunday at the age of 79, and it was a very hard take for F1. I think he had a real significance to the sport. He contributed so much to the sport, and he's gonna be missed by everybody, drivers, um, you know, team owners, everyone. He had such a great impact.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in the sport or in motorsport anyway or was rather for 55 years since 1966 when he founded Frank Williams Racing Cars, which it initially started off in like Formula 2, Formula 3, then went into Formula 1 in 1969, and then founded Williams in 1977 with Patrick Head.
Yeah,
Um, got their first win at the British Grand Prix in 1979, first drivers title with Alan Jones in 1980. Was it 6 drivers' championships, 8 constructors' championships, the most recent in 97 with Jacques Villeneuve.
yeah,
Last win in 2012 with Pastor Maldonado at Spain, a bit of an unlikely win.
yeah,
Last pole position was, I think, Nico Hulkenberg at Brazil in 2010. And it's one of the most successful Formula One teams in
in
F1 history.
in
And
history,
it's
yeah.
all started off out of an old carpet factory in Didcot, not
It
far from where I live and not far from where the current base is in Grove, actually, as well. So a real sort of almost, well, quite literally rags to riches story, I suppose,
indeed,
considering it
yeah,
started off with carpets and then ended up winning, as I say, 6 driver titles, 8 constructors titles, and yeah, what a man, the longest serving team principal from 1977 until 2020, quite a tenure.
yeah,
Um, yeah, just what a great man. And yeah, he'll be missed for sure. I mean, yes, he hasn't been sort of in the paddock since what 2020s when Williams was sold to, it was Jos Capito, who's now the team principal and CEO of Williams.
mm,
But yeah, it's good to see the Williams name continue
yeah,
um, as a team. But yeah, Frank Williams will be sorely missed by not just F1 but motorsport in general. Because as we've grown up with him, seeing him in a wheelchair for for all our lives. He got into
yeah,
the car crash in 1986,
mm,
um, broke his neck or his spine, I think,
it's
and
fine, yeah.
became paralyzed, and then was pretty much lying on his deathbed. But he soldiered on, and then just 9 months after being paralyzed, he was back on the
That didn't
back on
stop
the pit
him.
wall.
Yeah,
Exactly,
it didn't stop
and
him.
I suppose he's had that sort of mentality throughout his life because just when he was starting out in 1970, his driver Piers Courage died at the Dutch Grand Prix. So just 4 years into his motorsport career, to lose your main driver would have been quite hard hitting. And then again in 1994, Senna was racing for Williams when he crashed and died at Imola as well. So yeah, to have the mentality to come through 2 of your drivers being killed and to be paralyzed for the best part of 40 years
Yeah,
is quite a mentality to have, to just keep fighting, keep soldiering on. And yeah, as I say, he'll be missed for sure.
indeed, indeed. And the Williams name in Formula One motorsport, it's such a great name, and like I mean, the family as well, the immediate family, his daughter Claire and her family as well. Um, you know, condolences out to them, and I think Claire Williams, she as well is a big name in motorsport because you know after her father steps down, she took the reins of managing the team, and she's done a fantastic job. I mean, that's why she's highly recognized as almost like the main woman in motorsport as well. And that's how you see young girls who want to contribute seeing that because she's a role model to them. And she's done a very good job, fantastic job. And yeah, it's really, it's sad that, Sir Williams has passed away, and he'll be missed by everybody in Formula One.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as you say, Claire sort of not necessarily took over the team, but sort of took over the sort of board, the Williams board, if you like, in 2012. And then, yeah, whilst Williams hasn't been a front running team for quite some time, but a consistent performer in the midfield, certainly from round about, well, the 2000s really up until about what, 2016, 2017. And then, yes, it has seen a bit of a decline, but in recent years, again, we're seeing a resurgence in Williams. I mean, Russell P2 this year. I mean, yes, it
In
was at
Belgium,
Spa. Yes, it
yeah,
was a bit of a farce, but it's still Hungary as well, points at Hungary. So
yeah,
even if it wasn't Spa, Williams has still got points this year. And yeah, for Frank Williams to see one of his drivers, not necessarily on the top step of the podium, but on the podium nonetheless, after all Williams has been through the last few years, is yeah, a great, not necessarily a send off, but it's good to see that he was able to see one of his drivers, and a British driver at that as well, George Russell,
yeah,
on the podium before he passed away.
yeah, indeed. Yeah, he'll be greatly missed, and Williams are, well, yeah, Williams are in good hands, I believe, and yeah, they just they just need to finish the season strongly and on to the next season, and he will always be remembered. Now, Saudi Arabia, the penult I think this is what they call the the penultimate race of the season. Saudi Arabia, round 21. New track. It's come under some controversial
A
scrutiny
lot of
because
controversy.
a lot of controversy due to its human rights, but I will not go into that. Um, but yeah, new track. Just some facts about it. It's the Jeddah connoisseur circuits, 50 laps, 27 corners, and a 6.1 kilometer race length. Uh, I think that's one of the longest race length.
Yeah, second longest track on the calendar after Spa, and
Yeah,
the fastest street circuit as well. They're naming it, which I'm fairly sure it will, because the only other contenders, I suppose, that come into that are potentially Canada, Montreal. I think that's classed as a street circuit, and Baku. But even though Baku, yeah, it's got one of the longest straights, it's still got sort of quite slow speed corners as well. So, and just looking at the track map of the Jeddah circuit is, I mean, first of all, it looks like a knife or a spoon.
oh
So,
yes. What shape is it? Because that's very fascinating to see about
I'd,
race circuit. So
I'd
tell
say
us.
it looks a bit like a butter knife, because it's got not a long start finish straight, but it's just the whole sort of start of the first sector and the end of the third sector. It looks a lot like sort of a typical butter knife that you would see, slightly
Mm,
curved, and then one edge is just almost completely flat as well.
yeah,
And then I suppose the other bit, sort of the end of sector one, the whole of sector two, yeah, it's a bit squiggly, but it sort of looks like a handle to a knife or a spoon or something. So yeah, as you say, 27 corners. There's a lot of sort of mini corners, if you like.
yeah,
There's sort of more sort of kinks than corners, really. But I mean, 27, that's got to be one of the most, if not the most, corners on the F1 calendar. I can't think off the top of my head of any track that's got more corners than that.
On
Then again, as I
average,
say,
on average, sorry, on average, I think a number of corners would be what, 17, 18 at most.
maybe even a bit less than that. Yeah, maybe about 14, 15. Because I mean, somewhere like Austria, I think, has got 9 corners.
Yeah, that's a very
But,
small circuit. That's a
but then
very
Austria,
small
as I
one.
say, yeah, it's a small circuit, small lap delta as well. But I mean, even circuits like Silverstone or Kota don't have. I think they've got about 17 or 18. Maybe Silverstone a couple less than that. But so 27. I mean, we say 27 corners, but realistically, quite a few of those corners will be taken flat out.
Yeah.
There won't be any braking at all for, I wouldn't say the vast majority, but probably half of these corners. I mean, I'm just looking at the track map now. Turn 25 will be taken flat out. 26 will be flat out. Turn 3, turn 5, turn 6 maybe. A lot of them, the drivers won't have to lift or get on the brakes at all. So it's going to be harsh on the tyres. Like in Qatar, there's very few sort of harsh braking zones, hard braking. Maybe turn 27 and turn 13 are 2 sort of hairpins. Probably the heaviest braking zone, maybe turn 1. But I just don't see many opportunities for overtaking. But and I said that at Qatar, and yeah, it turned out to be okay. But again, in Qatar, I think it turned out to be okay because 2 drivers who would normally run at the front of the pack were a bit further down. Perez Leclerc as well, starting outside the top 10, helped with the entertainment of it because naturally they're just in faster cars in the midfield. Yeah, I mean, forget about the sort of human rights aspect of it. This track just doesn't appeal to me at all. I'm not a fan of street tracks anyway. I just prefer racing at normal motor racing circuits because that's sort of what they're built for. Streets are made for your normal everyday driving. They're not really meant for racing unless they're like a purpose-built one, like Montreal, for example. But adding the human rights into that as well, I don't think there's any way that F1 should be racing in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I think Hamilton wanted to boycott it last year when he said that Saudi Arabia, well, when F1 announced that Saudi Arabia was on the grid, and obviously not going to boycott it. He will wear his sort of rainbow-inspired and LGBTQ-inspired helmets again for all the races in Arabia this year, which absolutely 100% back him on that. 100% agree.
Of course.
That something needs to be done to show these countries that it's not right the way they're persecuting people who aren't basically Muslim and male. Really.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll give the track a chance. I mean, we gave Qatar a chance and it turned out to be okay. But Qatar is a proper racetrack. Jeddah isn't. So
Do you think that like we experienced in Qatar with the tire degradation, do you think drivers will experience that in Saudi, especially when you come to a new track like Saudi Arabia? And would you think tires will come into play again?
Possibly. Again, as I say, it's the fastest, or one of the fastest circuits on the calendar, the fastest street circuit in Formula One. And with a lot of flat out corners, then you would expect that Qatar would be, not Qatar, Saudi Arabia, sorry, would be quite harsh on the tyres. But then having said that, a lot of the corners aren't too severe. They're quite, I can't remember the word for it now, but you don't have to turn the wheel much to get around them essentially. So whether those sort of corners won't be as harsh on the tyres, but there are a few that will be taken quite fast. I presume some of the harder compounds of tyres will be used for Saudi Arabia, but it's 50 laps, which is a bit shorter than Qatar, but I suppose that in the grand scheme of things, they're all average out to be roughly the same length. I know Singapore is right on the 2-hour limit sometimes. Yeah, I mean, in a way, I kind of want it to be like Qatar in the tyre aspect, because then we have a bit of strategy play into it, whether teams risk the 1 stop, whether they sort of play it a bit safer, go for the 2 stop. But it'll be interesting to see what strategies F1 puts out this weekend and what strategies the teams go for
Now,
this coming weekend as
I
well.
reckon if I was a race strategist, I'd think for 50 laps, I'd rule out the one stop again. I'd probably rule that out and go for a two stopper, maybe uh medium to hards, start on mediums, finish on hards. Or or this next one, I don't know if you can do this, but maybe softs to hards and not use the mediums, or do you have
Yeah,
to
you can do
use?
that.
Yeah,
No, as long as you use 2 different compounds of
yeah,
tyre, then it's fine. So, I mean, we saw in Qatar in qualifying that teams, well, Mercedes, I think, went on, was it the softs or the mediums? I think Mercedes went on
mediums.
the mediums, and then a lot of the other drivers in the top 10 went on the softs. And pretty much everyone went on hard straight away afterwards
Yeah,
anyway. Um,
with exception
but
of Bottas.
well, Bottas went too long onto the mediums, didn't he? And got
Yeah,
a punch,
yeah.
and then went onto I think the hards. Because as I say, you have to use 2 compounds of tyre. Um, yeah, I'll be interested to see what tyre strategies that F1 and teams put out this weekend. I think it probably will be the 2-stopper, as you say, just because I don't think teams will want to risk the 1-stopper after what happened to Qatar a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just hope well, in a way, I kind of hope it's a dull race, because then there'll be a lot of protests about, oh, that's not racing Saudi Arabia again. But for the championship, I do want it to be an interesting race.
Yeah.
Just because it is getting so close now. 2 races to go, double header, Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi. Hopefully Abu Dhabi will be interesting given the changes to the track. We'll have a look at that next week.
I want it to go down to Abu Dhabi. I want it to be a winner takes all. In fact, I'm gonna predict. Well, you know what? Let's go into the predictions first, and then I will predict the race outcome. So, new track, Saudi Arabia, a technical track where there's a lot of braking and not many opportunities for overtakes. So, what are your predictions going into Qatar, going into Saudi Arabia?
We keep getting this mixed up with the top or something. Hamilton pole, Hamilton race win.
Okay.
Because I think the pace he showed in Qatar was just incredible. I mean, lights to flag, didn't need to overtake anyone, didn't get overtaken, easy as you like for Hamilton. And the fact that I think Mercedes are putting the Hamilton's Brazil engine back in the car for this weekend. I mean, we just saw the pace Hamilton had at Brazil is just a step above anyone else that weekend. And I can see something similar happening this weekend at Saudi. Given that engine and given Hamilton, again, I think it's a track that suits Mercedes more than Red Bull, but I have got that wrong on a few occasions this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if Max Verstappen pulls something out of the bag, considering I think the pressure is on him a bit more now. Well, not a bit more, quite a lot more, given Hamilton's won 2 of the 3 races in the triple header. Was it 8 points in drivers, 5 in constructors, I think we said last week. So if Hamilton wins this one with fastest lap, then we go into Abu Dhabi level on points, which is
level on points.
Ridiculous. It'll be 21 races and nothing separating the top 2 drivers. And then if they both get taken out in Abu Dhabi, then Verstappen will win because he'll have one more race win, I think, than Hamilton. Hamilton race win, Hamilton pole position, driver of the day. I think we were close last week. I think you almost said Hamilton last week.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who got it. Oh, Alonso got it last week, didn't he? Not last week, week before.
Driver of the day.
Good question.
What makes a driver of the day? Like,
so someone it's either usually someone at the front who, like Verstappen or Hamilton or Perez or someone Bottas, who just completely dominates the race, or it's someone like perhaps the midfield driver, slightly back of the grid, someone like a George Russell, for example, a Sebastian Vettel, Lance Stroll, who makes up 5 to 10 places or something like that. but based on the fact I can't see much overtaking at Saudi Arabia, but
Yeah.
I have a sneaking suspicion someone in the midfield will gain quite a few places.
So are you ruling out Mercedes, Red Bull?
I don't think it's going to be one of the leading drivers. I don't think it's going to be one of the big two, Mercedes or Red Bull. Could be a Ferrari, because again they were off the pace in Qatar in terms of qualifying, especially Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, I'm gonna go. Oh, do I go Pierre Gasly? I feel like I've gone Gasly a few times this year. I feel like I've gone Gasly about 5 times.
Yeah. Gasly. You
Hmm.
know what? I hope to do an episode just on Pierre Gasly in the future, because I think I like him as a driver. He's got so much potential, but I just think there are some times where his race performance, he just you know, almost there, but it's just not there yet.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we saw that in Qatar, didn't we? I mean, yeah, the AlphaTauri, I think, was the one stopper, which didn't work out and got 11th and 13th in the end. But the pace that Gasly has shown in qualifying is exceptional, outstanding. He's got, well, I mean, he started on the front row in Qatar, got, I think, a few P4s. Does he got a P3? I don't think so in qualifying, but in the top 5 or top 6 numerous times this season. But I just don't feel like he's converted the pace on Saturday into the race pace on Sunday. He's, from just memory this season, he hasn't finished in the top 5 too many times. I mean, someone will correct me, I'm sure. But just from memory, I can't remember seeing him too many times. He got the podium, I think, in Baku.
Yes.
But that's only because Hamilton pressed the magic button, which locked up his brakes. I still haven't given a driver of the day.
No, it's a difficult one.
I'm just sort of dragging this out, trying to think of a name. I want to go with someone I haven't gone before, but
who have you not gone with before? With exception of Haas.
I can't think now. Oh yeah, it wouldn't be with the Haas, would it?
Alfa Romeo.
You know what? I'm just thinking that actually. I'm going to go Kimi Raikkonen. Why not?
All right.
Outside shout.
Okay.
What is this? It's his second to last Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Retiring at the end of Abu Dhabi. I mean, he could get it in Abu Dhabi where all the fans just vote for Kimi Raikkonen because it's his last Grand Prix. I can actually see that happening now.
Yeah.
But an experienced, well, probably the most experienced driver on the grid, has been around the longest, I think, perhaps alongside Alonso. Whilst Alfa Romeo don't have the fastest car, I think he's been outperformed a little bit by Giovinazzi this year. And I think Raikkonen's got more points than Giovinazzi, actually. I don't know why. For no reason whatsoever, really. I'll give it to Kimi Raikkonen.
Kimi Raikkonen. Is that your final answer?
Let's do it. That is my final answer.
All right then. So, your pole sitting race winner is Lewis Hamilton, and then Kimi Raikkonen should drive of the day. All right then. You know what? I'm going to match yours. I think. I think Verstappen can win the title in Saudi Arabia if he wins and Hamilton were to finish 6th, I think.
6th or below, yeah.
6th or below. And some other scenarios which I don't know off the top of my head. Right. Lewis Hamilton, if he wants any chance of picking up a record-breaking 8th Drivers' Championship, then I think Saudi is the race, regardless of what happens in Abu Dhabi. It sets the tone for the last race of the season. And yeah, I mean, I do wonder what would happen if he didn't, if they do win the race and then it comes down to, well, we'll see. Hamilton, pole sitter, race winner, wait for it, Lewis Hamilton. And then driver of the day, someone who I haven't gone with. I'm going to say Lance Stroll.
I don't think that's a bad shout. He got 6th
person.
He
You
got
got
sixth in
sixth,
Qatar
yeah,
a couple of weeks ago, so
yeah.
he's coming off the back of a decent performance. And just personally, my point of view anyway, I think Stroll has come on quite a lot since he started racing. People say he's just a pay driver, but the last couple of years, I think Lance Stroll has really come across as not a great driver, but a good enough driver to be an F1 on merit alone. I know a lot of people will disagree with me for
Sort
that,
of like
but
a midfield driver, would you say?
yeah, a decent enough midfield driver. Not good enough for a top seat in F1, but
Yeah,
decent enough to hold his own in the midfield.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, right. Here's one for you. Predict the race from grid to finish, if you get what I mean. Yeah,
By me.
yeah. So I don't know. Are we gonna see virtual safety cars from your perspective? Any?
Yes, definitely.
Wow.
Or a full safety. I think someone's got to go into the wall at some point, surely,
Yeah.
because I mean it's a street circuit. You almost always see safety cars at street circuits. Surely someone will end up in the wall
Can
or
you imagine?
squeeze into a wall by another driver. Oh yeah, Mazepin. I can see him spinning out into wall in every single session. But yeah, well, I'm sure we'll see. I'm going to go for 2 safety cars
Okay.
and I think 1 virtual safety car as well.
Okay. Okay. Um. Yeah. I think we'll probably have two virtual safety cars. Probably some debris coming off someone's car. Um. Yeah. Someone's bound to go into the wall, as you've mentioned. As for the drivers, because there's not much overtaken, I think the top 10 will probably stay relatively as it is, probably with some exceptions with drivers between 6th and 8th. So drivers between 6th and 8th will probably be switching around. Um, I think Hamilton will repeat what he did in Qatar, and I think he'll have a clean race. Then Bottas, well, I don't really know for Bottas really.
It hit and miss really with Bottas, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
on some days he looks like one of the best drivers on the grid. Other days it just doesn't work out for him, like we saw in Qatar
yeah, yeah.
and
So
to some extent Brazil as well.
yeah, I think Verstappen will get a podium as well. I think that's almost a given.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's a
definitely.
given. Uh, you know what, Sergio Perez as well. I think Perez will be in a shout with a podium. So yeah. Um. So that's that for Saudi Arabia with that Grand Prix this weekend. Should be interesting. Now, Formula E. Formula E. Um. They've begun testing with their cars. I think season 8 doesn't officially go underway with racing until January. So, but they're out testing. Um, we saw Giovinazzi in his new race suit for Dragon, bright red. What did you make of the cars? We don't want to go too much into it because we've got something else.
Yeah. um, yeah, to say season 8 Formula E, they're using again these Gen 2 cars for I think one more season. I think Gen 3 begins in 2022-23. So another year and a bit really. Where they might bring in some sort of pit stop with with Gen 3. I'm not quite sure how that works yet, but yeah, there have been some driver changes, mainly due to a couple teams dropping out. Audi has dropped out, and I think Mercedes are dropping out at the end of next year. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Weren't
We've got
they
McLaren coming.
leaving last year? Because I think
I don't
that
think
was
so.
no. Oh,
I think Mercedes are going to go for this year. And then I think I heard something about them dropping out before Gen 3. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, we've lost Audi and BMW, the 2 teams to drop out. So 2 fewer teams, 4 fewer cars on the grid, which, I mean, one thing I liked about Formula E was the sheer number of, not necessarily constructors, but different teams If like it just had up to 24 cars, I think at one point now. I think we're back down to 20. I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, we've still got Sam Bird still there. Been there since the start. He's raced for Jaguar, his second season for Jaguar. Jake Dennis moved from BMW to Andretti. Dennis, I think, won the second race in Valencia in his rookie year. Mercedes, EQ, same driver lineup, Nick de Vries, Stoffel Van Dorn, vast amount of single-seater experience there. Just having a look on the Formula E websites, Lucas de Grassi has gone to Venturi, Rocket Venturi, who have put out quite a nice car. I think it looks a bit like the Batmobile Venturi's car.
Yeah, it does. I like it as well. I like it. Batmobile is a very good car for all the Batman.
Yeah, more teams. I think Oliver Rowland has moved from Nissan to Mahindra. Max Gunter, I can't remember who he raced for last year, but raced for Nissan Edams alongside Sebastian Buemi. Besides that, pretty much everyone else say the same. Dan Ticktum in for Neo, Chinese team, which I think has got a base somewhere in Oxford, not far from me. I'm looking forward to the next season of Formula E, and I'll certainly watch it a bit more than I did last year and the year before.
Yeah,
and hopefully they'll get. Hopefully they get a full season. They will have a full season. They had 6 races in Berlin for the 2020 season due to COVID. But can Nick de Vries complete a double back-to-back world titles? We'll have to wait and see.
Indeed. Now to finish off, I thought it'd be nice to have a quiz amongst us. So I'm sure you in the past you've watched you've heard of Grill the Grid with Formula One, where the drivers are literally put to their paces in the quiz. It can range from F1 championship winners. I mean, if you watched it, Sebastian Vettel, blimey,
all of them. No mistakes at all from 2020 to 1950.
I mean,
exceptional.
That is brilliant. But I thought let us try it out with the alphabet. So F1 drivers' last names, A to Z, but we're not going to do it all the way to Z. We're going to do A to M, if M is the 13th letter.
A 2-part thing, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do it 2 parts. So then A to M today, and then next week we'll do N to Z. So we don't want to waste time, so we'll just go from, just each one. And if you can't get one, or if you can't think of one, we'll just move on.
We'll have to skip it, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to skip it. All right, then. Do you want to go first? A? Here we go.
Yeah, I'll go first. Andretti.
Oh, okay. I was good. That was a good one. Right.
B for you.
Easy one. Brabham.
C.
Yeah.
I'm stuck already. So Eddie, while the current grid, beginning with C. Oh, come on. I can't think.
Gosh, we're only 3 letters in.
I know. It's going to be a long one.
Right, do you want to... Right.
Coulthard, David Coulthard.
Oh, well done. Well done.
Hey.
Right, A, B, C, D. Right. D. Oh gosh. Right, I think I'm stuck.
You asked me before we came on air.
Yeah.
Can you think of a driver beginning with D, and I couldn't.
You see, that's why I asked. Right, D. Right, I think I'm gonna pass.
Yeah,
I can't think of.
I'm sort of. Some listener will be screaming out now.
Yeah.
Say, oh, it's such a driver, but I genuinely can't think of one off the top of my head either.
Right. E. Go on.
E.
I've got
so rubbish at this.
I know. To be honest, I don't expect myself to be good at this because I don't know many. I know a few.
Eddie Irvine.
Oh,
no.
Good. Oh,
no, that was an I. Eddie Irvine was an I think. Is it? Hang on, let me just check.
Cheater. All right.
No, it was an I. Eddie Irvine with an I.
I.
All
right, so you've got I then.
I've given you an I then.
I've got I then.
E.
Right. What's next? F?
F, yeah.
Fittipaldi.
Yeah, good shout. Nice one.
G.
G.
Oh, come on. I've got two in my head. I've got two in my head. You've got to get at least one. Come
I'm
on.
just thinking of the current grid. G. Oh wow.
One past, one present.
Present
It's
driver.
not. Oh, come on, Wes. G.
Oh, Gasly. Oh my god.
Oh, God.
Oh dear.
Right. Graham
G,
Hill.
G, H. Yeah.
H. Hill.
H. I. Irvine. I'll try and think of another one. With I. E-Day. UG E-Day.
Oh, yeah.
Japan.
Oh, good. All right. Right. What's next? J.
J. Yeah.
Jordan?
Um,
No, that's a
I
no.
don't. He was
No.
He was a team principal.
Team principal.
There is one. I mentioned one earlier, beginning with J. Won the first world championship for Williams in 1980, Australian. Got a common Welsh surname.
J.
Yeah. First name was Alan.
Alan Jones.
Yeah.
Alan Jones. Right. So, all right then.
K.
K.
K. You know, when we said we do, I couldn't think of one beginning with K either. I'm sure.
K.
The Rain Carter-Kayan.
Oh, where is he from?
Indian driver.
Indian driver. Hmm. And then M.
L.
L.
L and then M to finish it off.
L.
L. Current driver on the grid.
Leclerc. Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc. Right, and to finish off.
M. Because today's been a bit William focused. Mansell.
Nigel
Mansell.
Mansell. What year did he win the Drivers' Championship with Williams?
Oh, good question. I want to say 92. Just have to double check that. It was 92.
92. Well done. Well done.
I say no. Neither of us said Hamilton for H.
Well, I think it just showed.
We said Hill. I suppose because today has been a bit William focused. I mean, I know you say Graham Hill, but Damon Hill for Williams as well. I think YouTube viewers will see Damon Hill in the background as well.
Yeah, indeed. So so next week we'll do the other half. N to Z. N to Z. Yeah. And well, this has been the AfterBurners podcast, and it's been Sir Williams, he'll forever be in our hearts of F1. He'll always be remembered, never forgotten. So this has been the AfterBurners podcast. I've been your host, Samuel Oni, and it's a goodbye from me. Bye-bye. And it's a goodbye from Wes.
Bye-bye.
And hopefully you enjoy Saudi Arabia this weekend.